Hi, ladies. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. So there is this video going around the internet saying that Kamala Harris said that she will not support Black community, right? And this video was just a tiny clip of what she said about Black people. And to my greatest surprise, people refuse to listen to the main video. And the main video has been pulled out. And what she said and what she talked about and how she wants reparations to be paid and all that surfaced. And sincerely speaking, she is actually advocating for reparations. And you all already know how much I am very, very much interested when it comes to reparation because reparation is something that has been long overdue for my people and all that. And she is a huge advocate for that, right? And to all the going around telling Black women or telling Black people, why are you supporting her when she has already said that she is not going to pay reparations or she is not going to support Black people and all that? You all stop pulling up half clips just to deceive people because there are so many people that would not bother to go deep to understand the video. Rather, they will run with a short clip. But you know what? Let's get into this video.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No.
So that is the 5-second clip that is making the rounds now, being used to say that Kamala Harris said she wasn't going to do anything for Black people. That's a 5-second clip of a 5-minute and 59-second interview. And that is the clip that they want to show. Well, allow me to put that clip into perspective for you with a little more before and after. Let's get it.
Do you support reparations for Black people?
So now you have context for what the rest of the interview is actually about, because that was the original question that started this interview. And at the time, it is 2019, and Kamala Harris is seeking the Democratic Party's nomination for President of the United States. So it is about expounding on your viewpoint.
Listen, again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination, segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, Black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up.
So now you have some insight into where this 5-second clip is going to come from. She was asked the question. She's acknowledging the validity of the question and how we got there. And she talks about what is needed to move beyond that. And remember, this is a presidential campaign, so we have to talk about, do you have a plan? And it's not enough just to say I support something with no plan. Now, let's get into what the plan looks like.
That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of Black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects Black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit Black children, Black families, Black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So
understand that most people that promise Black people reparations with no kind of plan is a non-starter. Reparations direct payments will be trillions of dollars that this government or no government on this planet actually has. So there must be a plan of how to implement reparations without the pushback against it. And there's where the LIFT program comes in, because reparations for the pain and suffering and the hardships of black people in this country that stretch 400 years is not going to be cleared up by one person, nor is it going to be cleared up in one piece of legislation. See, the key to building generational wealth is home ownership. One thing that black people in this country were substantially locked out of for a long time. So the LIFT Act will help address that, while also offering those people who suffer from the wealth gap in this country the opportunity to build this foundation of generational wealth that is tied to home ownership. So remember what she's already said, how she's describing a plan, as we go back to the interview.
So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this. Any policy that will benefit black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No, because whatever benefits that black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country. Right?
So there you have it. The entire context in which that 5-second clip comes from. She was talking about a specific answer to a question on reparations. And she wasn't being grandiose and making up something on the fly or giving something that had no hope of getting anywhere. It was specifically about the LIFT Act and how that act could be used to apply towards reparations in a way that was political, but would affect 60% of black people, because the largest amount of black people in this country are living at or below the poverty level, and they do not own their homes. Have any more questions? Leave them in the comment section. I got you.
Where do you stand on some form of reparations for black people?
Well, look, I think that we have got to address that, again, it's back to the inequities. America has a history of 200 years of slavery. Mm-hmm. We had Jim Crow. We had legal segregation in America. The Voting Rights Act was only strong for 50 years, and then they wiped it out with this United States Supreme Court in the Shelby decision. Mm-hmm. To the point that 22 states immediately thereafter put in place laws that one court found were crafted with surgical precision to have black people not be able to vote. So we've got to recognize, back to that earlier point, people aren't starting out on the same base in terms of their ability to succeed. And so we have got to recognize that and give people a lift up. And there are a number of ways to do it. Part of my initiative, again, around the LIFT Act is that same point. You're lifting people up who are making less than $100,000 a year. What I want to do about rent is the same thing. What we need to do around education and understanding disparities, what we need to do around HBCUs. But we have a history of racism in America.
So you are for some type of
Yes, I am.
reparation?
I absolutely, unequivocally believe that we need to have reparations for descendants of the enslaved black Americans. And reparations will manifest itself in many ways, not just in the form of money, albeit I do believe that money is necessary and should be a form of the reparations, but also in legislation and in justice for people who have been harmed by legislation in this country. We've given some form of reparations in the form of land and money to the indigenous, although this country continues to break every treaty that we have with them. We gave $1.5 billion to those who were in the Japanese internment camps during World War II. We've given reparations to women in this country in the form of justice and more rights, although we continue to have a group of people who want to take away those rights from these women. But we've yet to give any form of reparation to black Americans. There have been endless massacres in this country against black Americans, which have robbed them of their generational wealth. And the best thing that we can come up with is stop being the victim, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and accept personal accountability for your life. Every group of people was enslaved. There was slavery all across the world. And really, this is the best that we can come up with. We claim to be a country that believes in truth and justice. We claim to be a people who believes in values that include compassion, love, forgiveness, and redemption. Yet we never hold our systems to the same level of accountability that we expect our people to be held to. You know, if I were to go before a judge again today, the first thing that judge would do is look at my past. And he would say my past is probably going to be a pretty good indicator of what my future is going to be. Yet when we bring up the past of America, we are told to just stop talking about it. We are told to get over it and move on. Even though we are feeling the residual effects from that past, even though there is still generational trauma that's being passed on from one generation to the next. And we still choose to turn a blind eye. We are so much better than this, America. Reparation should definitely be on the ballot in 2024. We are not going back. Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, 2024. Let's go.
Is for the Black community. So I need y'all to weigh in on this. This man is making some pretty big statements, and he said that he is a messenger speaking for the majority of the Black community. So I just want to hear from y'all if this is true.
So this alabaster glowworm, translucent troglodytic snow roach, escapee from the Caucasus Mountains by way of My White Tears Would Get a Black Man Killed like Carolyn Bryant did Emmett Till, calls themselves transformative parenting. And yes, I'm going to weigh in, but then she's going to be weighing out. Let's get it.
What he had to say. If y'all only knew how Blacks really felt. We actually hate being around whites, to be honest, and we really want segregation back 100%. I'm just a messenger. First of
Y'all really think y'all be onto something, don't you? You think that these complicated C-spot run plans you all put in place to mask your racism are really effective against us, don't you? So let's break it down. You said a black man left that comment on your post, right? So I went to the post that the comment came from, and I see the comment comes from Oil Guy D5. And he's probably going to delete the comment after this video. But yeah, what made you think somebody who named themselves Oil Guy D5, D5 being an engine of some type, Oil Guy, was black? Now, y'all excuse me for blowing up her face, but I wanted you to see this comment. You can pause and read it for yourself. And remember that that comment by Oil Guy D5, I don't know a black guy that would call himself an oil guy and name himself after an engine, but yeah, Oil Guy D5. And here's my question. Why did she pick this comment and say it was from a black guy when she couldn't go to the page and see any evidence that it was a black person saying this? A black person, not just the blacks. But then I figured it out because I listened to the rest of her video, and she just wanted to say what she was about to say anyway.
I hate being around us so much. And honestly, for the most part, most white people are pretty nice and pretty decent people. They're bad ones, sure. That applies to every single community. But why would you hate us so much that you would want to go back to segregation? Somebody please make it make sense. But then you're also trying to convince us that we as the white people are the racist ones. We're not the ones saying that we hate black people so much that we want segregation back. What? But you know, it's cool that you say it, because apparently you get to say whatever you want and it's not racist. Because I thought as a society that we were getting more evolved, more enlightened, that we were moving forward. We're learning from the mistakes of the past and we were learning to do better. But then you're telling me that you want to go backwards, back to hate, back to segregation. Pardon me if I'm having a really hard time wrapping my brain around that. But is this true? Is he the messenger? Is he speaking for the black community? Do y'all really dislike white people so much that you would rather live a segregated life? Really appreciate it if y'all would weigh in on this.
And there it is. Because she just wanted to say all the things she said. And she found a vehicle to do it in. She said all that. And never once did she look at this comment and say, I can't approve if it's from a black person, but I'm going to address it to the black community anyway. See, here's the thing. Bella, what's wrong, girl? You alright? Y'all excuse me. Y'all know. Bella, that's my dog. She's female. Where was I? Oh yeah, I took the time to scroll around your page, and your videos show us who you are. You're a bigot. See, here's the thing. This is where you fail exponentially at, because you think you're smarter than you are. You all are just mediocre, and I mean the low end of mediocre. See, I don't use all those adjectives I used at the beginning of this video to describe white people. I use them to describe bigots and racists like you. Now, was that the response you were looking for?
So this is all I got from this video. The reality is that we all can see that these people, some of them really want segregation. And I don't think this is new or something that we've not heard before, but it's really amazing how they are so quick to come out on the internet to gaslight themselves, not even people that look like me. A comment was, let me start with her, the last video. A comment was dropped in the comment section and she did not verify where the comment was coming from. And then eventually it is also coming from her. So this is from me to me, right? So all the things this woman actually said are the things she's been wanting to speak out or voice out or tell black people, you know, and she couldn't or didn't find a better way to do it. Then she decided to go this route, and she think that we are that dumb to not understand where she's coming from. Like, of all the comments, she particularly chose this one to talk on, and she's asking, why do we, like, is that question for people that look like me or for people that look like you? Because I really need to understand, make this make sense, because the math are in mathing. So back to Kamala Harris, where she talked about reparations and all that. You all already know how big I am on reparations. Like, it's something that I am so passionate when each time I talk about it, because that reparation has been long overdue. If you all already know what I am talking about, it's already time that they cut that check, because I mean, like, you know, it's something that has been, like, I mean, it's super overdue, right? So a lot of people have been talking about Kamala Harris not supporting the reparations. I love the fact that people were able to pull out these videos from her old interview she had, where she explained how black people suffered from slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, and all that. And what will stop them from not paying the reparations? The truth is that I love the fact that all these videos are surfacing, because a lot of people have so many things to say about Kamala Harris, and how some use a tiny clip. I see some videos of women going around asking black people, black women, what are we, I mean, like, you know, what did she tell us that make us, or that, like, in giving us all the morale, or giving black people the morale to support her? I mean, they already know how. I think they are just scared, right, of her, and how especially black women and black men, some black men are pulling up and showing up for her and the rest of it. So they are thinking, what is the best way to, like, you know, dampen her spirit, or, like, you know, make her inactive. But I love the fact that she is pushing it. I don't care if she becomes the president or not, but the truth is that we can see from the things she said from the past that she has really something that she's going to do. But whichever way it goes, I am, like, rooting for the best candidate, and I hope, like, you know, the best candidate wins. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.